Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm very good. You want
Nice.
to let us know what time it is right now? I think that's like the best part of this podcast. Is what time is it for you?
I'm in the future. I'm in the future, and it's 8:20 in the morning. It's amazing here. I know.
8:20 in the morning, and you're drinking your coffee.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I need
It
it.
is 11:20 at night for me, and I am enjoying my
Beautiful.
little wine buzz.
The wine. It's amazing. People don't know this if they're not from the industry. The working the 10, 12 hour, 13-hour day, not eating that much, and then having that one like drink after really fucks you up.
It really does, dude. It does. It has nothing to do
Yeah.
whether you're lightweight or not, man. One little
hmm
drink and you're exhausted.
hmm
It's part of the reason why I'm kind of tired. It has nothing to do with it. I'm
Mm.
just like, God damn, that glass of wine really did me in.
One glass is like one bottle. You're like, damn.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right. So today we're here to talk
Today,
about something deep.
super deep, we're gonna talk about the Michelin Man. And
Big
is
scary.
is he is he is he an evil guy or is he a
Mm,
good guy?
mm,
I'm gonna be honest with you. My only experience with Michelin has been burnt. That's about
sure,
it.
sure.
Burnt. What else have I seen? I've seen Boiling Point with Gordon Ramsay. I don't know if you saw that one.
I mean, I've seen Ratatouille, so I mean,
Ratatouille,
it's kind of the
definitely.
same thing.
It's kind of the same. I've
Kind of,
heard Marco Pierre White
yeah.
give speeches at like Oxford or wherever the fuck universities.
I have seen that video. It's actually
Yeah. Or there's the one BBC thing like from the 80s where they kind of like were just profiling him. I don't know if you
oh
ever
yeah,
saw one. It's like a 28-year-old Marco Pierre White.
yes, I've seen them all. They're amazing, and he cooks for like all his mentors and stuff, or a few of his mentors and things, and they kind of go through a three-course meal for them, and
But
you.
you've actually worked in Michelin star restaurant.
I have worked for Michelin star people. I've been in their place. I've worked in a place where, they had a sister restaurant or, whatever that had a star at the time. Now it's two. And I was in one of their, they call it bistro, but honestly, they were trying to get a star there as well, I think, at the time. And I've worked for, yeah, I've worked for them. I've never worked in a Michelin star restaurant, but
So
I've
you
known
worked at
plenty
a
of
place
people.
that tried, that actively
Yeah,
pushed to do it.
yeah, 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 yeah. Two of them actually. But.
And how was it?
To be honest, yeah, it's not my thing. I mean, there's a lot of things about the Michelin system I'm not super horny on. I mean, the basis of it at the high end is slave labor, and I'm not sure how you feel about slave labor. Um, how,
It
how do you
worked
how
for
do
the.
you feel about free work?
I mean, I appreciate um I appreciate the pyramids in Giza.
Sure.
I appreciate the Great Wall of China.
hmm
I
hmm
appreciate
Keep the
the
Mongols up. Very good.
yeah, exactly. I appreciate the I forgot what it's called, but the big railroad that was built in the United States because
Sure.
through free labor.
hmm hmm
And I'm not a big fan of the cotton thing. Like I'm not even gonna joke about the cotton thing.
We should have gone
Okay.
to hemp.
We should have gone to hemp. 100%. Listen, I guess the Django is how I would feel about free labor.
Sure.
Django has handled it perfectly. I don't like it. I don't like it.
No.
And you know what the worst thing, at least like everyone's experience is? It seems like everyone has that same experience where they'll go in and it seems
Mhm.
like nothing they do is right. And it almost like I can't tell the difference whether it's like, hey, we just have really high standards and these new guys just gotta get in on it,
Mhm.
or if it's just fucking with people for the sake of fucking with people. Like my chef my
Mhm.
chef my previous chef, he was like 26 and he's telling me how he was at I think it's called Benu in San Francisco,
Yeah.
and they had him pick herbs, and he was doing the everyone. Yes, yes, you already know where this is going. He picks herbs for an X amount of time, which seems like forever, just for someone to go check on it and say it all looks like shit.
Hmm.
I can't fathom someone coming into any of the kitchens I've been in, which are non-Michelin star, and then wasting 45 minutes just so I can go and tell them it's all shit. I mean, I've been in
That,
like
yeah.
fine dining restaurants where they'll watch you like completely fuck up an entire recipe, but they'll wait till you're done with it just to let you know, oh hey, you fucked up the first 2 minutes of you making it. Like,
Yeah.
how is that productive?
I mean, yeah, I've seen and heard things where, like they'll watch you cut chives and they'll it'll be fine. They'll be nice enough. Like by nice enough, I mean not fucked up. But they'll dig through it. They'll dig through it and go, this is fucked up. They'll find one that's a little too long. You're like, all right, well, obviously we won't use that. We'll pick it out. But like, is the whole thing fucked? Yeah, the whole thing's fucked. I was like, okay, all right, well, it's a bit of a thing because I was working in this one place. We did a take on a soup, I guess, and this perfect, immaculate cuts of brunoise vegetables and these things, and some piece of fish, and you put it in the bowl nicely, and we put chives on top of that, and then there's a fish soup essentially that we put in a siphon and a spuma bottle, and just go and just blow it on top of all of that, and then put a couple of dots of green chive oil, I think it was. And like, well, we're just burying the shit under the soup. Like, what is the point? It's like it all matters. Like, I'm not really sure it does. And to be honest, I think busy work is a bit of an extreme thing. Those that like it, love it, cool. You know, uh, I don't know. It's not for me. But I mean,
It
yeah.
almost feels like unless you're gonna like really stick into that world, unless you're
Mm,
gonna do that, it just seems really impractical, especially if you're a new cook.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I look, I see the benefit of it. Like, hey, you know what? Attention to detail, consistency, etc.,
hmm,
etc. But I mean, I guess you really have to want to be there to justify it
yeah. I
because
mean,
you can learn.
I don't want to hate on it, but yeah.
No, I don't. Neither. Look, yeah, neither do I. I mean, it has its place. It has like at one point I wanted to do that. At one point I want like the only reason I didn't
Hmm,
was because it's funny when you say like you started late at 23
hmm.
because then I got to look at myself. I'm like, oh, so if you think you started late at 23, how late was I when I started cooking professionally at 30? Like
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
fuck. By the time I was 30, I already had like a wife and two kids. So I was absolutely not about to like dedicate my life to someone else's dream or someone else's business
yeah, yeah.
or like lack of flexibility. One thing that like lives like on rent free in my head is when Grant at how do you say his last name from Millennia?
Uh,
Grant Achatz?
Grant Achatz, I think.
Achatz?
Achatz, yeah.
But on his chef table thing towards the end he's telling the camera guy like how when he has a new cook come in he always lets them know like hey like if you know if you have like a pet find someone to take care of it if you have laundry to do find someone that'll do that if you have a relationship good luck because
Yeah,
a linea is going to be a relationship a linea is going to be your life at 30 years old with wife and kids, I certainly am not trying to like, nah, dude, I'm not trying to be in another relationship. It's just
yeah,
not doable, you know? Perhaps if I
yeah,
was 20, I think the Michelin system, even with the free labor, I think if you're young, it's okay. Only because in hindsight, you can see just how much time there is. Like if you look at like a kid that's like between, I use kid not in an insulting way, but if you take anyone between 18 and 25,
hmm,
as us being like in our 30s, that's like nothing, dude. That's like
yes,
nothing,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
agreed. I mean, for
So,
me, like the thing is like if you're talking about Linea and the three stars, Like these guys, I can't say for all of them, obviously, there's many of them, but I mean, for the most part, these things are supplied by free labor. They're stagiaires or free workers that come work for experience, that come for 3 6 months, pick the herbs, do all the kind of grunt work that, the chef de parties don't want to do. Many of these like top restaurants, Noma and things, best restaurants in the world, they like maybe half their staff is paid, the rest are like free labor. And to a certain extent, I get it. Like as I've said before, I'm not old school, but I'm not really new either. Because I think, to get better at anything that's a craft, you got to put in some time. You don't get better at shit by not doing it. So I mean, to a certain extent, I get it. And if that's the system you want to live in, if that's the world you want to live in, yeah, go, cool. Like you're saying, being young, cool. Just fucking, from 18 to fucking, I don't know, 30 basically. Just like, I'm not 30 maybe, but 18 to 27 or something. Just like really fucking go for it. Like,
Yeah, just put your
work
head down
crazy,
and do what needs to be done. It's not
work crazy and learn. Yeah.
it, it's just, I think it's really good for like fundamentals, or at least to get good habits down.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, when it comes to like I will say this about fine dining. Like I used to really want to live in that world, but the more I thought about it, it's like, you're just cooking someone lunch. It's not like the end of the world. Not to make things sloppy, but just it doesn't need to be this thing where it engulfs your whole fucking life. You shouldn't have to, give up your whole existence so that somebody can eat lunch. It's not fair, and I don't want to do it.
but it's like at that point, it's almost like it's not about the food; it's about the art behind it. You know,
Yeah, certain
because
places, yeah.
a fucking a balloon is
Hmm.
impractical. To make a fucking the balloon
You
for
should
dessert.
explain to them. You should explain to them what you're talking about.
So Alinea made this. They were able to make like an actual balloon. Like, I don't know what it was made out of, like sugar and gelatin, and they filled it up with helium, and that's how you'd get like your one of your last courses served as a balloon. Which, again, it looks cool. I think like the creative aspect, just for the sake of art, I think it
Hmm.
works. Practicality wise, I don't know. You know, I
Yeah.
think I think Michelin stars, it's kind of like high fashion. You kind of need it because it's it's not practical. Like when you see outfits or certain food, it's just not
Hmm.
practical. Like, who's gonna fucking
Hmm.
make that at home? Like, you can
Yeah.
buy the French Laundry cookbook, you can buy the Alinea. I don't know if they have a cookbook, but it's like
Mm.
it's it's good reference, and it'll trickle down and it might give you an idea for something more practical, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was this scene totally unrelated to food. It was from, you ever see The Devil Wears Prada?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so remember when they're talking about, I forgot what it was. They were in a room full of fucking like fashion people, and Anna Hathaway's character kind of like does a quick little laugh,
Hmm.
and her boss is like, "Oh, you think this is funny?" And she kind of like like puts her in her place, just to let her know. It's like, well, you know what? That shit, that bum ass shit you're wearing right now is actually inspired. And she went off on like how like how her clothing was directly inspired by high fashion, which eventually made its way down to like a department store. And
Right.
so it all connects to it. Like, it's, I think it's just about the, I don't know. I guess for me, like yeah, it's like the attitude, and it's just more about like, if that's, hey, dude, if that's what you want, go for it. Again, like, I think if I didn't have kids, or like tomorrow, God forbid, like I was just ended up divorced, my wife moves to another state with the kids. Yeah, you know what?
Hmm.
If I have nothing to do, okay, sure, I'll put in the time and hours.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like you're bringing up the trickle down effect. I mean, if you want to play devil's advocate and say, with all the free labor, all the life that it tends to ask of you, the Michelin star system, the good thing to come out of it is, a lot of strong skill sets that then you can give to, quote unquote, like lesser food or lowbrow food or something. Because you see a lot of guys coming out of the Michelin star system, or girls coming out of the Michelin star system, and all they want to do is a fucking down home bistro with the skills they learned from these fine dining places and just apply it. Like a puree is it shouldn't be lumpy no matter if it's in a Michelin star 3-star place or a fucking bistro. It shouldn't be fucking lumpy and cruddy and shit. Like all these skills need to come out of somewhere, and that at the fine dining level it does tend to trickle down. Like you have El Bulli, which was the number one restaurant 15 years ago or whatever, had its time in the sun, and it basically created the whole molecular thing that was going on a decade back. But realistically, they took um, chemicals and products and things from the commercial side of food that they used as binders and thickeners and all sorts of stuff, and then they applied it to their food to make gels and foams and all sorts of molecular alchemy shit. But then that kind of stuff has become not normal in all restaurants, but there's a certain kind of trickle down effect that kind of applies itself and kind of raises the bar on all levels. Whether or not you want to eat fine dining food is is up to you. If you want to eat a balloon, then go ahead, but it's not necessarily going to do it for me. I don't feel like it's going to satiate me, my soul.
One of the first things that kind of popped when like you popped in on my radar on Twitter was post-COVID Michelin.
Yeah.
And I never thought about like the fact that Michelin put out like their best of for 2020.
Yeah.
Like that was weird. Like
okay, yeah, I got geared up about that back then because the guide realistically, I'll speak for America because for you guys were locked down like crazy in 2020 and there was nothing open and everybody was laid off and shit, and if you were doing anything it was like ghost kitchen. But like the Michelin guide comes out, it's like, hey, okay, yeah, oh yeah, we're here, we're gonna review you and put you in the guide, but no guest can eat, and realistically our reviewers shouldn't come and eat either, but somehow they put a guide together 2020 and 2021, and they're coming in and saying, okay, yeah, they still got 2 stars, they got a star or whatever, and realistically, I mean, they're there promoting their guide in a time where the industry's at its lowest. And if anything, I think the thing I mentioned on Twitter again was, it would have been a nice sign of solidarity if the guide said, okay, because there are no restaurants really open, or the majority of ones aren't open, we are going to not print up the guide, but we're going to do, I don't know, a celebratory or a kind of, I don't know.
Oh, that's such a brilliant idea. No, you're absolutely right. Just like, like, hey, what are these Michelin restaurants doing during COVID? One of the ones that like I enjoy, like there's 2 restaurants that for me was like, okay, you know what? I kind of liked what they were doing. And that was, I forgot what it's called. The one on Madison in New York.
I'm not sure.
No, you know this one. The one they just recently went like full vegan or vegetarian menu.
Oh, Madison Square Park
Madison. Yeah. Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
11-12 Madison, 12-11 Madison. Some shit like that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it because they were doing like these little like these boxes that you can pick up and go, and I mean at the very least they could have at least like, hey, let's see who has the most creative like takeout. Because it's like because my thing was like, how the fuck are you gonna judge when most of these restaurants either A are not open, you 100% are not going in, or you're doing takeout, and if you're doing takeout, if I
for
recall
20
yeah, like how can I trust that the person picking up that the box is going to set the meal up the way I intended it?
Yeah.
How
I
are
mean,
you gonna?
takeaway.
How do you know to take the sauce and to pour it on a certain on the dish rather than just like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking dip it like dipping
It
sauce.
it comes with a whole brochure, like a little like IKEA manual. Like, okay, sauce A goes on meal B, and sauce X goes on, meal Y.
So Madison
Okay.
was one of them. The other one that I kind of like, and I would say maybe like it seems like the most like reasonable Michelin chef that I can think of in recent times is
Hmm.
Kren, like Dominic Kren,
Yeah.
and her I forgot. She has like several ones, but her main one, her like little Kren workshop restaurant, like I liked
Tellier.
it. What
Yeah.
is it called?
Well, she's got a Tellier and
Yeah, that one, Atelier. Then she has Bar
yeah,
Kren.
yeah,
But
something
like
like this. Yeah.
Atelier, like Dominic Kren has always just seemed almost like I want to be Michelin, but I want it to have like a soul.
Yeah.
And I recall like I followed her, and I recall like before she became like super famous, when she was just like locally known in San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco, was
Mm-hmm.
she would do these little things where she would highlight employees. Like, today we're
Yeah.
gonna highlight this employee and what do they like about working here. Like, it seemed like the kind of place like that I would want to work in. It's like you're Michelin, but you seem to be treating people kind of nicely, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about her is like, when it comes to that level of cooking, and even those that are just under and striving for that recognition from the guide, you know, everyone thinks of themselves as an artist. And realistically, I mean, I've said before to you, I don't know if you agree, but I think the vast majority of food is craft based, and it's a craft. It's something you have to do with your hands. But there's a 1%, like 2% of people that take it to an art form. She is one of them,
I
and she
100% agree.
she likes poetry and the artistic aspect and the expression of art, and puts it into food, and it's amazing. Her food is elegant and beautiful, and I'm sure it tastes amazing. And then there's some people that take themselves a little too seriously and think it's like high art, and it comes off uh, not fake, but a bit.
Pretentious?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say pretentious, because like they're striving for more, and that's admirable, but they're not there yet. And so it's kind of like
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
somebody mold clay in front of you, and you're like, I don't get where you're going with this. Maybe it'll turn out great at the end, in a few years, where they kind of find their stride, they kind of get it. But right now, you're looking at this fucking, looks like a melted kind of army man that you put in the microwave kind of thing, and you're like, I don't get this, but all right, I
It's like
guess,
it's
you know,
like rookie moves. Like
yeah,
every new cook at some point has to do something deconstructed. Every new cook at
yeah,
some point wants to just
yeah,
like swoosh everything.
yeah, yeah,
Everyone wants to like make like, oh, I'm gonna reinvent the Caesar salad, but it's gonna be
yeah,
nice and neat and clean. It's like we get it, but I think I agree with you. Like, I think there's two schools as far as like the Michelin system, and
mm,
I'll do like on one hand you have like legit like people that I'm like, no, that's an artist, like Dominic
hmm,
Kren
hmm.
and Grant Achatz. I think those people are artists. And then
Yes,
you have people that just take food that's like just what I would consider quote unquote normal, but fuck, they really took it to the next level. Like Thomas Keller. I've never
hmm,
known Thomas Keller's food to be like just over the top. It's
yeah,
just like classic American, but he puts twists on it. He
hmm,
just like, I think it was you that said his focus is technique. Like, that
yes,
is what's being focused on. Like a place
yes.
like I would rather go like to a Thomas Keller place because of technique than the artsy place. Because art, I think art is subjective.
I mean, that's the hard part about art, isn't it? It's completely subjective, and it's everybody gets their own kind of value out of it. I mean, I know a lot of people from my home city that would like look at it, and go, that seems like you can't eat that. Yeah, okay. I mean, and you're right, technically. I mean, if you feel like it's too beautiful to eat, you may feel uncomfortable. But those that, bring it to an art form, yeah, of course. I mean, there's something to be admired in a way for the Michelin system and what it brings to the table, I think. But, born out of a little bit of, you know, the Michelin Guide itself kind of makes its own press, and those chefs that kind of want to be slaves to it kind of tend to ruin their lives sometimes trying to
Yeah,
get a star or two or three. Like there was that famous Bernard Loiseau or something. He was a French chef. I think he had 3 stars at the time, and he was super stressed all the time. He was a national treasure in France, and there was a one time there was a rumor that he was going to lose one of his stars. I think this happened 20 years ago or something, maybe now, but 25 years ago. But he took his own life over the stress of it, and it
and
obviously
they
it was.
still had service.
Yeah, yeah, they did, yeah. His protege took the reins, and they lost the star obviously because of it's usually to the chef, especially at a 3-star level. It's usually to the chef. So when they leave, or if they leave, um, the stars go with it, and then they have to earn it again the next year. They did earn it, so nice, but it's a tragic story that like you were bringing up Burnt. There's a lot of that movie is hard for me to watch. Like I've known a bunch of people that like really kind of fucked up their themselves, their personal lives, and their selves over what a little fucking booklet gives them every year, and it's fucking not worth it, man. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. It's kind of cringy for me to think, but there was a time where I wanted that. Like, what year was it? I think it was maybe like 2016, 2017.
mhm,
And I remember like at the time, like in my like journey of just figuring out things like Michelin and stuff like that, I
mhm.
had recently discovered like top 50.
Yeah,
I saw that documentary of Noma and how they had like I think what is it, like they had 2 stars, and they had like some like bad review about like someone got sick with their food until they lost the star or whatever, and they were trying to regain their 3rd star. That was the whole story. And
okay.
it was really good. But I even remember like my buddy, my
Mhm.
my coworker there, he was a chef, and he's like, he's just talking about like, man, you don't want to do that top 50 thing, because it's like you got to think about like how much they lose, like how many of them are miserable, or like how many of them do you think are divorced. And it's so crazy because at that time I wanted something like that so bad that it's like if you would have told me it's like, Jose, you can have it, but you're probably gonna end up divorced, I would have said no problem, no fucking problem. But then it's like,
Yeah.
in retrospect, like who the fuck am I cooking for? You
Mhm.
can't be cooking for yourself. You can't be cooking for the guests. You're constantly thinking about that one inspector may or may not be here today. You know?
That's the thing. Like it's like you're standing in the dark, and you're just like you hearing things in the dark, and they're shooting shit at you. They're just throwing like fucking tomatoes at you, and you're like just kind of doing that football left right, and you're just trying to like dodge, dodge, dodge. Okay, maybe today I get hit with a tomato. I don't know. I have to always be on guard, and I always have to be at the peak of stress. Otherwise, you never know when they're going to show up. I mean, you kind of have an idea, I think. Like if they come every year. It's not like if they came in January, they wouldn't come in February again,
Well,
unless it's.
according to Burnt, you can tell because they'll put a spoon on the ground. Was that your
Yeah, I
was that
think
your
that
experience? Did they put
I
spoons
think
on the
that's
ground?
more of a rumor thing. I mean, there has been like I've seen and read certain things like people like put a I don't know a Q-tip on in the bathroom or something. They'll put it in like a spot to see at the beginning of the meal and then at the
Come
end.
on, man! Like, don't you think that's fucking weird?
Yeah,
Don't you
it's
think that's
too
fucking
much.
weird?
It's too much. Like, I mean, nobody wants fucking piss on the floor, yeah, but I mean, like, nobody's gonna go there in the middle of service to like sweep up the bathrooms unless, again, you have a 2, 3 star place. Your staff for the day is like 30 people sometimes. Yeah, okay, you have the manpower, but like sometimes there's just 2 people in the kitchen, 2 people on the floor, maybe a bartender, and that's what you got. Like, no one's gonna fucking, and you're doing like 120 covers, nobody's gonna fucking go to the bathroom to make sure, oh, a little piece of toilet paper is just a little lonely piece of paper is just hanging on the floor. Like, yeah,
That's like
I
such
mean,
a pretentious Yelp reviewer. It's like the meal was
yeah.
fantastic, everything was great, service, my server was
Mhm.
attentive, but you know what?
Yeah.
There was a Q-tip in the bathroom.
It ruined my night.
No, we just can't do that. They're clearly not ready for their third star. They lack
Yeah.
discipline. They lack attention to detail. Like, get the fuck out of here. And
There was no ass wiper waiting for me, and I felt dirty
Jesus
after.
fuck, like, and it's like, what are the qualifications for these people? I don't know what the qualifications are.
That's debatable, right? Like some of them are food critics. I've heard rumors that a lot of them are ex-chefs, but again, a lot of people, as as you've experienced, a chef of 20 years doesn't mean shit unless they've actually tried. If they're just like a fucking fry cook at a bar for 20 years, like, yeah, I've been a chef for 20 years. Like, okay, but like you fry a bunch of chicken wings for like 20 years, so what? Like, I don't care. Like, not slighting on your life. I'm just saying, like, there's a big wide world out there, and it, how much effort you put in is how much you get out, kind of thing, in this industry. And it it doesn't necessarily work out that way. Like, just because you put in the time and effort doesn't mean you get payout, I
Sometimes
guess.
it just feels like rich people shit, you know? Like, sometimes it's like
Yeah.
you just one of the things I think about is I think it's GQ has a segment with this rapper 2 Chains,
Okay.
and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's like they take 2 Chains, the rapper, and he goes and looks up like the most expensive shit.
Oh no, I've heard about this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, here's a $100,000 bottle of water. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you're just making shit for the sake of making shit for fucking rich people who just want to feel fucking. I understand that, like,
You
hey,
just want to feel
you
something.
just want to feel, like, you want exclusivity. That's what it is. Once you hit a certain peak, you want exclusivity because you don't want those fucking Target shoppers, those fucking Walmart shoppers, fucking,
Uh,
just griming up your place. So of course you
I,
need someone to put Q-tips
yeah.
on the fucking countertop in the bathroom.
I
But
mean,
hey,
the
maybe
people
that's
like,
just maybe that's my broke boy mentality.
maybe. I mean, yeah, I guess. I think when you have fuck you money, I just assume, like, yes, you can jet set to wherever you want. Yes, you can do whatever you like. But I think there's a certain level of boredom when you can do everything and then you do things and you're like, well, that was a thing I did. But I think there's a certain level of boredom when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Like, how many people are going to like Nobu or Benu or any of
Hmm.
these places
Any of the ooze.
for like the legit, because it's like, hey, I want to go try the food, versus
Mm.
it's something that you can post on Instagram later on. It's something that you can flex. It's something that you can write in the lyric later on.
I
You know,
mean, I mean, probably at least half. My understanding about Nobu, like, I don't know too much about American restaurants in that way, but my understanding is it's like a institution at this point for like
Nobu
people
is
that love
100%
sushi.
an institution. Yeah, he has many. He has several locations.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of like football people, Instagram stars and whatever, wanting to be seen or eating there, and it's become its own monster, I think. But I mean, fuck, whatever reason people want to eat, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, if they're coming to your place, they're still giving you money. You're still turning that money into people's livelihood. Everyone's kind of happy, I guess. Does it feel a bit soulless to be cooking for people that just want to take pictures of things and be seen at it? Yeah, it's not my thing. Like, I just want people to sit there, enjoy each other's company, and just like have a night off from having to fucking cook whatever tragic shit you cook at home. I don't want to open another frozen meal. Yeah, okay, then let us do it for you. It's cool. Like, no problem. That's what we do. I just want people to enjoy themselves. You know.
Yeah, me too. Like I want to serve people who are having an anniversary. I want to
Mm,
or you're going to prom, or it's your birthday. I
mm,
think just people that are gonna appreciate it. You know, like I don't
mhm,
go out to eat a lot, so when I go out to eat, to me it is like a little experience, whether it's like at a restaurant or even just a local pizza joint. Like
mm.
I'm taking in everything. You know.
Yeah,
But
I think when it comes to like Michelin places, I just had a thought about it. Like people that eat out a lot at Michelin star places, they go in the guide every year and they go, I got to hit this one and this one, this one. They food blog it and whatever. I feel like because it's such an art form, some of them tend to be like, oh, this one was good, but it wasn't as good as this one, and this course was kind of whatever, blah blah blah. But if it's supposed to be art, if it's supposed to be uh, subjective, like realistically, you know, you can make your rating, but like it is just what it is, really, at the end of the day. And if it's good or if it's bad, uh, you know, that's kind of up to you, I guess. But there's not no reason why some reviewer coming in saying, "Oh, this was kind of not great," whatever, blah blah blah. Um, no reason why the person reading it wouldn't like it themselves
yeah,
necessarily. Yeah, but
that's interesting. Yeah, I I'm more of a craft person. Those are the
sure.
kind of people I kind of look up to. I think of like Thomas Keller, that's craft, pretty
Hmm.
straightforward. He can get creative. Like I remember one episode where Anthony Bourdain went and they made a dessert specially for him where I think they used like tobacco in the ingredient was one of the
Hmm.
ingredients. I thought that was cool. Like I enjoyed that. Um Actually surprisingly someone like Gordon Ramsay's first restaurant, and I think it
Hmm.
was actually featured in one of Anthony Bourdain's early shows.
Hmm.
Very simple things. I enjoy. It seemed like yeah, you know what? That seems like legit. I think it's just when it starts to get kind of like corny, when it starts to become other things beyond the food. I mean, certain details
Yeah.
are cool. I like how like there's certain places. Justin Khan was talking about how there's a place where the detail is that before, like if you have like a purse or something, they have like little like tables, like a little stool, just so your like purse doesn't have to hit the ground.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
I can take little details like that. That's fine. I think, but yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's just really weird. I think sometimes it's not about the people and or the people that like the food is for, and it's more just about getting that rating or getting the recognition and just making another year, just making the list.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's a bit of a hamster wheel, really, isn't it?
yeah, and then from there it's like okay, like in a lot of places, I forgot who, there was someone that like they have it down like a system. They know exactly what they need to do, what they need to,
Mm-hmm.
what they need to serve, how to need to serve it. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the reasons why Marco Pierre White kind of just like gave that shit up. He's like, I'm fucking done with like I proved what I came to do what I needed to do. Now I just want to make fucking real food, pub
Mm-hmm.
food.
Yeah.
I fucking dig that shit, man.
I mean, I'm not into like, I mean, the big thing for me is just like cost versus value. Like, you know, I think there's a couple of food bloggers that recently went to Per Se and they had a 725 tasting menu at Per Se. And like, do I want to save up all year just so I can fucking have this 4 hour meal? Not fucking really. I mean, it's not for me to tell someone how to spend their money. If that's the way they want to do it, cool. Like, and you get value out of it, fuck it, cool, get it. Not for me. It's not. I have much. I get much more out of going to Chinatown and eating like a good sloppy meal than something like that.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you know, people want to get pampered, but
I
so
don't know, man. I like street food. If I had
yeah,
like that kind of money, I would just rather go and have street food, you know?
and you get a lot more.
You get so much more for your value. It's a lot better. It has personality because you're not just eating like you're eating someone's like family recipe. You
Yeah.
know, you're not eating
Hmm.
something that's been like, okay, well, we're gonna tweak it until it's just right. We're gonna tweak it until it's whatever the fuck ever. I mean, like maybe if like an anniversary comes up and you want to do something, perhaps. I just,
Hmm.
but I agree with you. Like, I'm not gonna tell someone not to spend their money on it, not to thrive for that. I just I think it's the bigger picture. I think it's like, dude, it's a machine. It's a machine. It's a business, and it's not always just about the food. Like if
I
you're
mean, any
about the
restaurant's
food,
a fucking living, breathing thing, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. And it's like there's so many moving parts. I mean, yeah, you need that free labor to make it work because everything's so fucking expensive.
I mean, I don't. Arguably, these places wouldn't exist without the free labor, which is a shame. But also, I don't know a better way either. Like, if we're talking about labor and treating people respectfully, and everyone's getting a proper work day or a proper work life balance. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I think a certain amount of time, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, a certain amount of time is required to learn anything. If you want to learn piano, you want to fucking learn how to scuba dive, you need to just put in the fucking time and physically do the thing. You can't just read about it and say, "Yeah, I can do this now." You know?
You know who's someone else I consider an artist like Dominic Crenn, Massimo
Mm.
Bottura.
Yeah, yeah.
And the first time I ever thought about like the trickle down effect in food was he was the first episode of the first season of Chef's Table, and he was talking about how there was like this massive earthquake, and they
Hmm.
lost a lot of like a bunch of like Parmesan wheels were like busted up. So he
Hmm.
made like I forgot what the fuck it's called. He made a dish, and through his influence, a bunch of other restaurants started to copy. Like, oh, Massimo's using fucking Parmigiano Reggiano. So then
Yeah.
everyone started doing that. And then that was from like, okay, so food, I see how food has a fucking influence. And you see these versions, like Korean version of it,
Hmm.
um, Brazilian versions. It was nice. And at least for me, there's just something very personable and approachable about Massimo. And I think
He
that, I
seems to
think
have some joy, you know? That's kind of the
that's,
nice thing.
I think, yeah, to me, like he is an artist. And I
Yeah.
can understand why you would give someone like that a Michelin star because you're recognizing the uniqueness of it.
Yeah, because you're looking at if we're talking about Chef's Table, we last episode we brought up Tim Rao, the German anger house, and like if you look at him versus Massimo, you're like very different ways of doing things. This Tim guy is wants to rule by fear. He wants everybody to fucking just respect him out of duty or fear. And Massimo seems, to be fair though, he still runs a 3-star Michelin place. Like he's probably at the very top, and as a happy Italian guy, he's probably not the guy cracking the whip. It's probably his head chef slash executive sous chefs really fucking laying into this stuff more so than he is because he's on TV and he's doing this and he's doing that and he's doing a
I feel like
cacio e pepe.
Morale is in food, but for him, it's more about the prestige. It's more about
Mm.
accolades. You know, it's
For
like in
some, it might
music.
be.
Yeah, like some people, it's about the accolades. Some people, some artists, it's about the authenticity. And
Yeah.
I think deep down, I think that's what either turns me on or off about that level of food is what's behind it. What's the motive? What's chef's motive? Is it
Yeah.
he or I Dream of Jiro? Is that the movie?
I
The
yeah,
Japanese
Jiro
TV
Dreams
show?
of Sushi. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
Jiro Dreams of Sushi. See that
Yeah.
guy? That's legit. That guy probably had no desire. Perhaps, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he like. I don't think he was out there looking for Michelin. I think Michelin found
No.
him.
No.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And see,
It,
that's the shit I like. I like that because it's like, damn, you're so good, you got noticed. Versus you're out here trying to get noticed.
I mean, intent is 100% um, part of cooking. Like, it's not just, not just on the diner's end. What is their intent? Oh, we're talking about, oh yeah, yeah. People want to be seen in Nobu. They just want to fucking show their Instagram picture. They're all dressed up to the nines and they're just eating fucking sushi and shit. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not good. You got chefs out there trying to get a star. If their whole purpose, and you can see it on some guys, like there's some people, they're just trying to get a star. But the thing is I don't think a lot of people realize is like once you're in the system, once you're on the wheel and you're running, if you lose a star, you lose your restaurant because people will stop coming. So, and then getting to that point, people are putting in a shit ton of money, shit ton of effort and time, hoping that they get it. And if they don't, the only endpoint is bankruptcy if you don't get it, because
Yeah.
you're milking a system that doesn't have the ability to charge the numbers, the cost for the menu that should be,
Or if
and
you
then
diversify that
yeah,
shit, man, start like
mm,
expanding. Yeah.
exactly.
Instead of putting your eggs in one basket. Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Once you're in the system, it's in. I think that's why I think it's better when it finds you, when you don't care, but
Mm,
your success is just a byproduct of your passion versus you trying to look for it. Because
yeah.
then it's like it doesn't fucking matter. Like, okay, so tomorrow my restaurant is Michelin, but then they take it away, but I never put too much stock or weight in it. Okay, I understand why I went under. I could just do something else, or just, I don't know, man. I just, yeah, I wouldn't want to be to me it just seems like a extra. It's like putting your everything into a Yelp reviewer, but it's on steroids. To me, that's what. To me, the Michelin is basically like Yelp, but for really rich people or anyone
I
that can
mean, coming from Canada, we don't have it. So I like a lot of us didn't come up the system like
There's no
dreaming of a
Michelin
Michelin
in
star.
Canada.
No, we don't have it.
Yeah, you know what? There's
Not that
certain
we
countries
don't have
that don't
restaurants.
have it. You're right.
Yeah, there's plenty of countries that don't, but I mean, we just don't grow up like desiring that. I mean, our at our core, our food is very like homey kind of. Uh, it comes from everywhere too. Like there's no like French cuisine or like Canadian cuisine. The best we have is like French Canadian, which is kind of has become its own thing. But other than that, we have Filipinos and Chinese and everyone's come from everywhere. India, Pakistani, all these things. Like there's tons of food everywhere. So it's kind of hard to gauge. I think the Michelin guide doesn't know what to do with our food in a way.
It's yeah. Maybe
You
they
know,
don't. Maybe they don't. I like cheese curds and fries,
I mean, what's not to like?
caramelized onions and gravy. I
Yeah,
could eat all day. So good.
or like smoked duck poutine is fucking delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, when it comes to the system, I mean, it has its place. Like I said, I mean, I like the fact that it trickles down into, and it kind of just raises the bar from the bottom. But at the top, I couldn't give a fuck in a way. Like, that doesn't matter. I mean, for some, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter because if anyone's listening to this and they're working in a Michelin star place and they're dedicated to it, it's cool. I'm not I'm not shitting on your life. I'm really not. It's just not for me. And it's not for a lot of eaters. You don't, you're doing sometimes 30 or only 40 guests a night, and that's what you're doing. And it's a big production and it's a 4-hour meal for those people. Cool. But
You
yeah,
don't have to shit on them, Chris. I'll do it for you. Fuck you. Okay? Your Michelin system is bullshit. Okay? I don't
yeah.
give a fuck where you. I'm just kidding. No. But seriously, like, you're absolutely right. Look. Some people like that hard discipline shit. Some people I can for me, it was always about, like, when I wanted to work in one, it was mostly about, I want the techniques, I want the discipline.
Mm,
I just, because I knew, like, if you're just in an area where, say, taking out trash, sweeping and mopping after your shift is done no matter what,
Hmm.
it just sticks to you. Like now it's like I have these habits where it's like because of like really good chefs that I've had, non-Michelin, but I feel like, yeah, I could have definitely gathered other habits, but because I haven't, I have to search out for these habits on my own. I have to
Mm.
put the pressure on my own versus someone who's 19, who maybe has 6 months of someone telling him, you fucking put the scraps in a bowl. Nothing touches your
Yeah.
cutting board unless you're actually cutting it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I think when it comes to that, when it come to me and fine dining, in my head, I thought, okay, um, this is the only way to be. And, I want to be taken seriously. And, like I said, at 23, I felt like I started late. And, what the first place I ever started at, because no one would hire me at the beginning because I didn't have any experience and I was older and whatever, is more of a chain kind of situation. And they teach you speed and saving trim and weighing things, and it's a money making machine, and you learn a lot of good habits in that way. But physically cooking, you don't. They're like, oh, this is just what the spec sheet says. You just 2 minutes that side, 2 minutes that side, but when is it done? When the spec sheet says it's done. There's no thought behind it, and that's why I had to leave because it drove me crazy. Like I wanted to physically learn how to really cook, but these people were just in the system, and they just didn't. It's not that they didn't care, but it was like, yeah, we're in the system. This is what we do. This is our Bible. Boom. Okay. But I wanted to know more why, which is
It's a
where
really good point. Yeah, you can't
yeah,
like they know what they need to do. This is what we need to do. We don't have time for why. Just when I say jump, jump. Your only
yeah,
answer is how
exactly.
high, chef.
Yes, which doesn't work for me. I mean, it works for me now because like, if I'm encountering a person that just wants to be told what to do, I can, it's okay. I get that. I get those kind of mentalities, and I get the why mentalities. It's just everyone's different and what they want to get out of cooking. Um, you know, and at the end of the day, that's kind of, you just have to not weed it out, but you have to kind of person by person experience. You just have to see what kind of person they are and what they're looking for. Some people just it's just a paycheck thing, and some people really want to go deep into it. You know, but I think in the day and times of the internet, it's so much easier to just kind of educate yourself on stuff and kind of fast track certain things. Like I said, it's a craft at the end of the day, and you physically got to do it. But there's certain knowledge things versus technique things that you can learn pretty quick and easy online.
Yeah,
So,
at the end of the day, just know why you're doing it. Like,
mm,
is it for the craft? Because, like you said, in 2022, dude, it's called YouTube. It's called Google. Okay, whatever technique you want to know, there's something out there, even informative, whether it's a technique or a habit. There's something there for you. But if it's something that you just want for yourself, if it's like, and look, it's okay if you want to feed into your ego. It's okay if you want to feed into that, but know why you're doing it. Know why you're there. Know why you're working for free. Know why. Be okay why some chef is out here yelling at you, or I don't know. I mean, maybe not all Michelin star chefs yell, but I mean, I can imagine when the stakes are that high, when your business depends on whether that fucking parsley leaf is wilted in position correctly. Yeah, your chef might start saying, "Is it worth it for you?"
your butthole gets a little tight, yeah.
Yeah,
I,
perhaps.
but yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, when it comes to that kind of stuff, you know, it's how deep you want to go and where you want to take it. I think is your end goal is more important than like the journey is. They say the journey is more important than the end, but I think in cooking, your end has to be. You have to know your end game to tailor your journey in a way. You have to use that to pick certain places that you want to work at to kind of guide yourself and where you want to
Mm-hmm.
end up. Like you want to run your own place while working at a chain and stuff. I guess technically you could just open another franchise and do that, I guess technically. But again, like it's for me it's a bit soulless on the bottom and the chains and these things, and it's a bit soulless at the top, and the happy place is kind of in the middle where you're kind of you got elements of both, and it kind of comes together in this high-low system that kind of just works, and it just feels better for me
Yeah,
personally.
that's what I wanted to say last week. I was listening to our episode from last week, and I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, you know what? It's like the bottom is just shit. The top seems kind of shit. It's really the middle. You just gotta find your
Hmm.
middle ground. Most people, when they start cooking, I can totally see why. Like even me, looking back in retrospect with that mentality, it's like, yeah, you want to see how far up the chain you can go. And then I kind of got a taste of it
Hmm.
for 5 months, and then I realized, like, dude, if this is the easy part and it's just gonna get more intense after this, it's not fucking worth it. I don't fucking think so. Like Jesus fuck, and it's not
I
even.
love getting fucked, but not that hard.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's not the food, it's not the job. Like for me, what kind of killed it was the personalities, the egos, and I'm
Mm.
like, dude, Jesus, okay, like I got to put up with this shit. It's not worth it. I can get equal satisfaction making mac and cheese at a nice place. It doesn't have to be Michelin. I just enjoy cooking. I just want to make food for real people, and something that I might be able to take home or to a friend's house and just make it. Like that's really at the end of the day, if I can just make anyone a meal, I'm happy. I don't need
Yeah.
the accolades. I don't need to be recognized. And at the end of the day, when that place gets a star or whatever, it's not mine. Do I really want to be the cook that's like, well, 5 years ago we got a star and that was really great. You know what? It's not 5 years ago. It's today. Can you fucking please put out table 32?
Yeah. 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 No, I get that. I mean, I always think like, oh man, it would be so nice in a way to get to be offered a star and be like, nah, I'm good. I think
Very
you get more press if you were a place that didn't have a star and they got you a star in the guy. I mean, and you said no, you would get more press out of that uh, than anything.
Oh, that's all.
Uh,
See, now that's my goal right there.
to just get one and be like,
Get a
yeah,
star just to be
I'm
like,
good.
eat a dick.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And realistically, it's this third party reviewer essentially. It's just no different than an internet guide or anything or the top 50 or any of this. Realistically, it's third party and they could do what they like. Whether or not you put, their sticker on your window or put it on your website or whatever, that's up to you. But I mean, you can't stop them from printing it, I guess, technically, because reviews are kind of, I don't know, not open source, but they're free and legal to do as they want with. So
Yeah, I wonder how many of those restaurants are like, what? We're in there? That's weird. There's
I
ha- there,
mean,
there's gotta be at least one restaurant. It's like, I guess we're in there now. We're not really.
yeah, there was a couple in Asia that like it was a few years back now, but I think there was a couple of them in Asia and stuff that were like bodegas or like street food or something, and the guy was getting a lot of flack for basically being very high pretentious. Good 50 to 60% of them like very French based cuisine, and they're getting a lot of flack for like not really making or representing food from a lot of different cultures and things. Then all of a sudden they're like, all right, here's a bunch of food vendors in like Singapore and shit, and like
Shanties.
I
I
mean
remember that. Yeah. So it's like, dude, what? Like, it just, yeah, it's a
now they're
fucking.
just catering and pandering, and
Now they're just
it comes off
pandering.
this.
So it's like the consistency. So what yeah, the little local shop that's like literally inside a fucking Subway, like they're gonna get it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I agree in a way. Like that bodega is probably gonna make me feel a lot better than going to like a 2 star in Amsterdam or some fucking thing. Like probably 100%. Like I'm gonna feel better about it. It's not gonna wreck my wallet. I'm gonna go
Mm,
there. I could probably go back every day for a year and like not break the bank. Like a lot of people in Singapore and stuff don't cook at home. Majority of their food is from street food. It's affordable for a reason, and yeah, cool. I think I'd be more satiated from that in my soul and physically than a big fucking whatever meal at some fancy place. But yeah, I mean, if the guy gives it a star, cool. I feel like these places were already busy, so they don't exactly need the business. They don't need a bunch of like these awkward white tourists coming in and like taking Instagram pictures and shit. And I'm sure it's nice, but like there's probably something that comes along with it that's kind of less.
It's like food
Less than
gentrification.
kind of, yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Uh, so the guy, it can be great. It can be horse shit. I mean, again, like, if you're asking about the credentials, who the fuck knows? Uh, who the fuck knows?
Man,
Really,
they're gonna do a lot of shit to stay in business.
I mean, if they printed up a guide right in the middle of a fucking global pandemic when things were absolutely fucking closed, yeah, they're never not going to be around. They don't give
They'll
a
find
fuck.
something to give a star to.
Yeah, they'll find something. They'll find some fucking bodega or something, and just like, oh, really good
You're
corn
it.
dogs.
Best
This is
corn
Michelin star
dogs
corn
in
dog.
North Carolina. Yeah, dude.
I mean, Thomas Keller's closed, but we got corn dogs, so
Hey,
okay.
I like corn dogs.
I
All
mean,
right, man. I think that was a good episode. I think we're good.
we'll end it there. We'll end it with corn dogs.
We'll end it with I like corn dogs.
I
You
mean,
know what?
nobody hates.
No, you know what? I'm gonna end it with this. I think I was telling my wife this and she gave me a look, but you know what? Prove me wrong. I think the best foods are out there. The best foods are like dick shaped foods. Hot dogs, corn dogs,
Mm.
churros. Love that shit.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, guys. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please share this. Like it if you like it. Dislike it if you didn't like it. Hit the sub if you're not sub. Turn on the bell if you want notifications on when we post. As of now, I think we're posting every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Sounds
Perfect.
great, man. All right, everyone. We will see you next week.
Peace.
Have a great service.